Welcome to The Tech Ranch, live and local here on Super Talk 1270. The latest gadgets, online security, websites and apps, social media, and so much more. How can technology help you? Let's find out. It's time for The Tech Ranch on Super Talk 1270.
From our studios in beautiful Mandan, North Dakota, along the mighty Missouri River, here is your guru of geek, Marlo Anderson.
2015 is coming to a close. 2016 is fast approaching, and we have the Tech Ranch Dream Team in the house today.
Wow. Oversold.
When are they going to get here?
Of course, we have Mr. Jim Walsh, tech geezer himself.
Hello.
And SEO wizard, Mr. Scott Wild.
Hello.
And
I didn't know you were talking about me. You said SEO wizard. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
and of course, the social media icon himself, Mr. Marv Dorner.
Well, hello.
How's it going, guys?
It's going fantastic.
Well,
Wow.
Thanks for having us back. I didn't realize you were at show 300 already.
No, that's right. The last time you were here was show 200.
I'm usually here on the every century.
every
That's right,
100.
right. Although we're coming up on the fourth year one in a couple
Oh,
weeks,
there
so
we go.
we'll have to
Ooh.
have something there too, I guess, won't we? So anyway, I want to welcome everybody to the Tech Ranch, the final episode of 2015.
Unbelievable.
And thought we would just bring everybody in today to talk about what we think are probably the milestones of 2015, I guess, as far as technology and that type of thing goes. And we're going to kind of get right into it because I think we have a lot to talk about today. And the first thing that is kind of on my list is the cloud.
Sure.
I think 2015 was the year of the cloud. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
Go ahead, Marv.
I think you're right. I think, we're starting to see it actually start to migrate away from it a little bit. But I think mainstream, the cloud is really, that's where everything is being stored. I store almost nothing on my computer anymore.
Yep.
It's everything is moving towards storing it on a cloud and having it through multiple devices and being able to get to it anywhere. And
So-
that's the huge advantage.
So why do you think that we're moving away from it right now?
You know what I'm seeing now, and you'll probably see this. I know CES is a big deal, and they're starting to have USB plugs it stores it locally, but it's encrypted, and you can move it with you, and it still talks outside of it, but it's going to be. It's a little more secure because
Okay.
it's a device that you carry with you or save in your office or wherever you want it.
So there is a new app that's just coming out called TAC. I don't know if you're familiar with TAC or not, but so you put it on your device, and it actually allows your device to become a cloud.
Oh, okay.
And then it actually works through all of your devices. So it creates a cloud within all of your devices. So you can grab information from your laptop, from your tablet, whatever it is, and allows that to kind of happen. So you can, again, kind of not storing it someplace else. You're in control of the storage, but you have access to all the information. So that's interesting that you brought that up. Scott, what do you think on that topic?
Well, I mean, everything, Apple Music is one of the first examples of, in my life right now, I mean, for those of us that have been in the game for a while, we're using Dropbox to store all of our files. Again, like Marv said, I don't have anything. I could lose my phone today, lose my tablet, whatever it is. I'm not worried about it because I can always replace the device. I can't replace the data.
Mm-hmm.
And right now I have nothing stored. It literally takes me minutes once I get a new phone or a new tablet to sync everything back on, which used to be back in the day. I had everything on portable hard drives. And what makes me nervous about those, even the encrypted devices that you take with you is the natural disaster. It's the fire, flood, whatever. It's
Right.
losing it, having it stolen. Whereas I feel that the cloud still offers that security. But there are times when I would love to have that stuff locally because of the internet's down, whatever that might be. So I mean, maybe we are going to see that that coming back to where things are still stored.
Most of them, though, you do have an option to save locally as well.
Sure.
So I think they're starting to see, the Dropboxes and the OneDrives and all that thing. They're starting to see that as being a need.
Yeah.
And so I know OneDrive specifically, you can actually say save as local. It'll keep a copy on your device and migrate back and
that's
forth.
what I still do. I will copy the things that I use regularly. I have a working folder in Dropbox that is stored locally, but it's also backed up. If I change the file, it creates a copy out on the
Right.
web. So,
Right.
I mean, there is that security, but, like I said, I'll use Apple as the example. I mean, I have thousands of CDs, and I have thousands of DVDs and movies. Well, now I'm migrating all of that into Apple Music, and it's literally the Apple Music takes a copy of every disc that I have, even the ones I burned, and even maybe some of my own productions, and it tries to find a match for itself out in their library. And if it does, then you have instant access to its stream. But if it doesn't, then it uploads it to my iCloud library, my music library. And the same with the movies now. I will never buy a physical CD or a DVD ever again because I have to store it now.
Right.
And I'm literally giving away. If you guys want any DVDs, let me know. I'm giving them away because I have them all backed up, or I have them,
Sure.
available now in the cloud.
And it is interesting, we're starting to move towards a minimalistic society, I think, especially our millennials and, the way they live and that type of thing. They're living in smaller spaces because they would rather go down to the local coffee shop or whatever, and that's their social type of things. But they're not going to store this type of stuff in the future.
Right.
They're just not. I mean, I remember when I used to have thousands and thousands of LPs and the video cassettes. I mean, I would have a whole room just dedicated to the storage of this stuff.
Exactly.
And now I don't need any of it anymore.
Right.
So.
But if you have your vinyl, now it's coming back.
I know.
It's like-
I agree. I agree. Yes.
I actually bought my daughter some vinyl for Christmas.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Cool.
she's getting into it now that she can go
Nope.
to the... I know Marvel.
Nope.
Yeah. How does this fit into the CD player,
Yeah.
Dad? I don't know how this works.
We still buy the digital copy, like in iTunes or whatever.
Absolutely.
But just it's the nostalgia. It's the thing that
Oh,
she's
yeah.
never used a record player.
Right.
So, this is her generation now taking advantage of that. And
I
it's
remember
fun.
buying people CDs for the first time back in 85 and 86,
Yeah.
and people would put it on their record player because they thought it was a new 45 or something like that. Hilarious. But anyway, all right, so the year of the cloud, I would also call 2015 the year of IoT.
Yes, in fact, that's the first thing that
okay,
I had
so
in here.
why don't you elaborate that on, Scott?
Internet of Things. This is the network of physical objects or things that is embedded within electronic software, sensors, network connectivity. It allows objects to collect and exchange data.
Right.
And so I remember when Web 1.0 came out, it was all about the physical network and the computers connected to computers. And it was all about the hardware and the wires and everything. Web 2.0 was not about the machines anymore. It became about the people.
Right.
We became Web 2.0. And now Web 3, when they talked about Web 3.0, what will that be? And that is Web 3.0, they said that will be when the machines are talking to each other. And now we're here.
We are
It's here. And that's
Yes.
called the Internet of Things.
Yes,
instead of Web
yes,
3.0.
yes. So, and we will continue this conversation after the break, everybody, as we're going to get into the Internet of Things and how that's going to change moving forward in 2016. So come on back.
Right now, 7 Above.
Weekends with Stacy Keach, Richard Syrett, and Leah Laporte on Super Talk 1270.
Follow the Guru of Geek at Facebook.com/The Tech Ranch or Twitter at Guru of Geek or TheTechRanch.com. Here again is your Guru of Geek,
Night at the
Marlo
Rock.
Anderson.
With the best bumper music in the business. We're all dancing in the studio here. Hey, we want to thank all of our listeners across the country and around the world who follow us on the Blueberry Network. We're also on the Tech Podcast Network. If it's Tech, it's here. We're on the Roku. We're on Tuned In. We're on Apple TV. We're on Radio Pup, our own app here. And now we are on Blab. So if you want to see what the studio looks like, everybody, hop into blab.im because we have 3 of the 4 streams coming right to you, right from the studio here. In-studio guests, Mr. Marv Dorner and Scott Wild. The dream team of the Tech Ranch is in the house. Both of these gentlemen have actually co-hosted this broadcast once or twice.
Yes.
Over the past few
Yep.
years, and they're kind of my go-to guys when we need to discuss things, and it's wonderful to have you here for the end of 2015. So thanks, gentlemen.
Thanks for
Appreciate you being
having
here.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about kind of wrapping up the things, what 2015 has brought to us, and we were talking about the Internet of Things, and before the break, Scott was just elating to something here, or alluding to something, I should say. So go ahead and finish up that conversation.
Well, an implementation of Internet of Things, that's a practical implementation. The 2007 bridge collapse in Minneapolis, right next to the college, killed people. I mean, and they never saw that coming. They had, it had just happened. And so now when they rebuild bridges, they're talking about using this smart cement, which has monitors and nodes in it. And it can detect when there's stresses, when there's changes in the structure, when there's shifts. And so it can literally broadcast that information out to the appropriate authorities to either shut the bridge down or go make the needed repairs at that time. So
Okay.
that's
Okay.
one example.
Sure.
And the other one is obviously inventory control in stores, when things are running low. You walk by a store and your phone goes off and says, hey, there's a sale right here, right now.
Right.
Yeah. Those are devices that are communicating to each other. So it's the Internet of Things, not
Right.
Internet of People.
Right. Marv, what are your thoughts on the Internet of Things?
I think that it's in that version 1, and you're starting to see now tons of companies get involved and started to flood in a little bit. And I think what's going to happen is you're going to get that VHS versus Betamax conflict at some point. And right now you got two different styles of temperature gauges, and they both have their own little conduit to the internet and that sort of thing. There's going to be some standardization that's going to have to take place. So it's a matter of who outmuscles who at this point. But I think we're right on the cusp of that happening. And so I think the next step will be some standardization, and then you'll really see it start to take off as far as being in the home and cars and everything else. I think
I think
right
that standardization too, Marv, comes down to who's going to own the data.
Oh, sure.
Right? What do we do with the data? What kind of analytics are we going to get out of
Absolutely.
this? And because if machines are sharing the data, now there could be that standardization
Yeah.
of, well, I own the data. No, I own the data.
Mm-hmm.
We get to market this.
No,
We get
Google owns the data, man.
So what kind of devices do you think you're going to start seeing because of the Internet of Things? We always laugh about the toaster being connected, but there are some things that are practical here besides what you have talked about already. So throw out some ideas about what you think is going to be connected in the future.
Well, I think the smart home. You're going to have
Mm-hmm.
homes that are going to be able to dial 911 when they're on fire, and you're going to have, bridges again talking smart cement. You're going to have road conditions. You're going to have roads that are going to be able to detect icy conditions and maybe even someday heat themselves up and take care of the problem, or spray beet juice on them or
Okay.
on themselves or whatever.
Marv, what are your thoughts there?
I think you're starting to see that. I think cars are an obvious next step. You're probably 10 years out from that, but you're starting to see companies like Apple hire all these really high-ranking guys from Ford and General Motors and other car companies and bringing them in. And a lot of it's for how does it work now? But I think you're going to see them kind of push the envelope a little bit on that sort of thing.
Actually, MIT did a report, and 1 to 2 years before car-to-car communication happens, you already have cars that can detect deers in the
Right.
stuff, but they're actually
Right.
going to have cars talking to each other and that will avoid each other
Right.
For collisions.
Yeah,
Millions
it's called
of people.
V2V, vehicle to vehicle,
Yep.
and you're going to start seeing a lot of that as well. So, and with that, do you think security is going to play a big deal with the Internet of Things in the future?
Yeah, wasn't there a car that got a Jeep or something
Yes.
that got hacked, I
Just a
get
few months
it.
ago,
It was one particular style of vehicle, a particular year that's running a particular brand of software, but they put out this hack that they could shut it off
Right.
and do all kinds of stuff. So it served as a good warning. I think that right now they're probably not as concerned about security as they maybe should be.
Well, my thinking is that, again, going back to the toaster thing, okay, the toaster is on the Internet of Things. I mean, it is one of the things in your house that you can control. It's part of your network, because the new network can access your computer. So will somebody figure out a way to hack your toaster or your refrigerator so they can gain access to your hard drive?
Burn my toast. Sure.
You'll have Mickey Mouse imprinted on your toast every morning now. So
But the more serious version of that is know when you're gone. Know when you're,
Right.
figure out the way that you come and go and go, okay, all right, he's gone. He's going to be gone for 6 hours. I can take all kinds of stuff out the front door.
that's an interesting point, because you could figure out, that the coffee machine isn't working anymore, the toaster's done, all this stuff is not working,
Sure.
or it's not online. So you're right.
Or get access to the video feed.
Yep.
And just realize there's nobody in the house.
Right.
So and somehow manipulate that to be on a loop and look like there's nobody there. And so there's a lot of things that could happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I
Absolutely.
think Marv hit on it earlier with standardization. That is the key to all of this stuff,
Right.
whether it's drones or whatever we're talking about. I
Right,
think that they're-
right.
We have to emulate it, or
Absolutely. So, okay, moving on from the Internet of Things, I ask you two to kind of bring a couple things too. Marv, what's your first thing going back on 2015? here?
I think you kind of hit on it with the Internet of Things, but I think wearables is still going to be, they're still working through that process. It's sort of like the Internet of Things, where it's on that right on the edge of taking off, with the Apple Watch and the Android Wear, and you got all this other gear that you can get now with clothing that's integrated into your phone, and I think it's adopted by a few of us that are crazy.
So what do you got? What do you got right now? Show it up to everybody. At
This is an Android Wear watch. It's a Moto 360. It's a second version, but I've had the Pebble. I've had the Samsung, and I've also had two of these. This is the second one as a tester for Verizon. So they kind of send me stuff to play with.
You get the cool things.
I do. This beautiful phone they gave me,
Yes.
and some other stuff. So
Yeah, cool.
but it's fun because you kind of get some things to play with, and I like it because it tells time. Believe it or not,
One of the functions.
but getting the notifications from a phone or from a device and not having to pull that phone out of your pocket and use, believe it or not, the battery, because it's the display that uses up all that battery life.
Right.
So to not pull that out and be able to read a quick text message or an email or see who's calling or any of that stuff on my wrist is a huge move forward, I think, for me.
Sure. Scott, wearables, where do you think it's going?
I have been toying with getting an Apple Watch for a long time, and I'm actually on the cusp. I mean, it's the latest purchase I made was I bought the iPad Pro, which is now the drive-in movie-sized iPad, but it's enormous. So I've gone the opposite direction instead of taking it down, but I am absolutely intrigued by the wearable, and here's why, and it's Marv hit on it. It's because when you're in a meeting, there's nothing more rude than to pull your phone out and look at your screen. It looks like you're disinterested.
Right.
But if you could set a reminder and all of a sudden your wrist buzzes or whatever, this time to say, look, you have 5 minutes left in this meeting, start wrapping it up. Those kinds of things, I think, make us more efficient and keep us more connected as humans,
Right.
in those moments. Because I think we have too much screen time going on, and it would be great to have. I'm absolutely heading down that road.
So what about like Google Glass and those type of things? Do you see that progressing as well?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think that it's going to even get to a point where we're going to have heads-up display in our cars. So instead of people looking at their thing, that's going to project something onto our windshield, kind of Google Glass style.
Okay.
Not that we should be reading emails on a heads-up display, but things like our speed and the gas, all the readings, just like pilots look through a heads-up display.
They actually you can actually take your phone down. I think maybe you turned me on to this HUD heads-up display, and there's actually 3 or 4 apps out there that when you lay it into your dashboard,
it broadcasts.
It actually pushes it up onto and then it shows like where I've used it occasionally when it's foggy outside, because it shows you the trajectory of the road in front of you.
It wasn't me.
Okay. So I think that's really, and that's just a free app right now that you can grab. There's 3 or 4 companies that make that, and it syncs to GPS, and it shows you where you're going, and it's really helpful in those type of bad weather conditions.
There's a new motorcycle helmet, I think, that's going through the Kickstarter process, but it's going to come out this summer, if I'm correct, and it will display on your visor speed and whether there's vehicles on either side of you, or any GPS navigation aspects to it. So that's a big deal for people that use that helmet.
And I know, I guess I have it on right now, but this little thing I have on right here, I can see this being developed into something that's a wearable in the future too. And maybe they already have them. It's a Bluetooth headset that I just wear around my neck. I absolutely hated Bluetooth headsets.
Yep.
Despise them, hanging off my ear and all the time, right? This thing, I feel lost without it. It's almost become part of my getting up in the morning and getting ready for work. If I don't have this on, I don't feel dressed anymore. So this thing really has made a big difference.
For your phone and for your music?
Mm-hmm.
Music, phone, syncs to, when I do Blab, for example, I have it synced to my computer as well. So I'm always talking through it and listening through it. So it's very, very convenient, and it lasts about a week on a charge.
What's the brand on it?
It's an LG.
Okay.
So very, very nice. So, all right, everybody, after the break, we will continue our conversation about what's happened in 2015 and our outlook onto what we think will be happening in the future. So come on back.
Right now, 7 Above.
It's a jungle out there. What foods do you need to avoid? What nutritional supplements or remedies should you take? What health practitioners should you see? Hi everyone, Dr. Bob Martin here. If you have health questions, I've got health answers. From warts to wrinkles, headaches to hemorrhoids, carpal tunnel to the common cold, aches to shakes, and all points in between. So help yourself to better health naturally. The Dr. Bob Martin Show. Sunday mornings starting at 11 on Super Talk 1270 KLXX.
We're back to the Tech Ranch. Stream this program now at supertalk1270.com. Here is your guru of geek, Marlo Anderson.
And thanks again. There we go.
There we are.
We're working now.
My bad.
That's okay.
Keep punching buttons, it'll work.
So again, we want to thank everybody who's following us on Blab. I think we got our audio issues worked out. We always have audio issues on Blab for whatever reason. So, but if you want to see what we all look like, hop into blab.im. We are there right now.
Wait a minute, I should probably cover that up.
Yeah, at least put something on the
yeah,
head.
it's getting a glow.
You and I need to stop waxing our heads, I think, Marv, because there's a little glow off the camera or off the lights in here. So anyway, we're doing a recap of 2015 with social media icon Mr. Marv Dorner. And the reason I call you that, you are the I think you're still the most followed person on Twitter in North Dakota, aren't you?
I wouldn't even have
You
no
are.
idea. I'm assuming
you
I'm
have to
close.
be.
You
You
have
have to
3
be.
people, right, that follow you?
3.
I
That's
have
exact-
-1.
140, I don't know, 144,000, I think.
Unbelievable.
And that's gone up and down
Yeah.
pretty dramatically. So.
Yep. And of course, Scott, well known in SEO circles. You've done a lot of conferences, a lot of talks over the years on how to get your website better. And you're a big WordPress fan too.
WordPress is my world, man. That is the only way to fly. And in my opinion, there's a lot of good content management systems out there, but I mean, WordPress is responsible for 25% of all the world's websites.
That's crazy.
That says something right there.
And I just watched the CEO of WordPress the other day. He's talking about taking over another 25% in the next 2 to 3 years.
And
That's
it'll happen.
unbelievable.
It'll happen.
Very easily
And
could
security
happen.
will get better, and it's open source. And there's just some amazing plugins and themes. And
Yep.
It's changed the way I do business.
Yeah,
for sure.
pretty crazy. So, we could get into that a little bit. WordPress has been around for 13 years, and you just see it getting better and better all the time.
Absolutely. I mean, it's way more responsive than it ever was. Natively, not even you could put a lot of different plugins into it now, depending on the theme you use. I use Elegant Themes, the Divi theme.
Yep,
and
me too.
It's just I will never have to use another theme ever again. And they just released a new Divi version called Extra that is just mind-bogglingly easy to create good content, magazine-style websites, and I'm so excited. And I mean, it's all responsive. People don't have to know CSS anymore. If you do, you can take these things and take them to a whole new level. But for those that don't know anything about CSS, you're just fine. And you can have a beautiful website, but more importantly, what I try to get clients to focus on is content.
Sure.
Because that is king. I really don't care what the site looks like. It's got to look good, but content is king. And
Or not necessarily. I have a crappy-looking website, but does really well, So
that's good content. See, that's the perfect
It's all about
example.
content, yeah.
It's all about content.
Yep. Marv, your thoughts on WordPress?
I'm the same thing. I use the Divi WordPress theme as well, and have used others. But being able to recreate an existing site and make it work on a mobile device without doing any extra work other than just copying what it looks like and getting the content over, that is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I've come from a past history where that's taken hours and weeks and days, and it's just it could take forever to get that done. And I built a lead generation site for somebody about 2 weeks ago, and it took 6 hours.
Yeah.
And that's from getting the domain name to launching the website. It took 6 hours, and that's a pretty basic website, but still, that's a big deal.
Yeah, and it's really clean code, so it gets caught in the search engines. Immediately, and it's hot.
Right. Mike on Blab here stated about Thrive themes. Do you guys use Thrive themes at all?
I am not familiar with
No,
Thrive
that
at all.
doesn't-
Okay, that'll be interesting to check
check
that
that
out
out.
too.
Absolutely
So
check it out.
he's also stating how much better would your site do if it looked great. I suppose it would do okay, but it's already ranked at 3.4 thousand in the world, so I don't know how much better it can
You're
do. But,
going to get solicited by about 10,000 people now.
probably just
what's
because I
going on.
said that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wish I could get mine down to 6 million visitors a month.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that when I looked that up the other day. 3.4K is what it's ranked at right now, and it's like the worst looking website in the world.
But it's valuable. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, look at
It works.
Google. I mean, Google
That's true.
is the simplest site on
Yes.
the planet, and it's the most used site
Yeah.
on the planet.
Yeah, so I guess that's what I go for,
Valuable.
simplistic, right? Yeah,
You're either adding value or you're validating yourself.
Some
You're
one of
adding
the two.
value.
One of the two. So
People want content.
that's right. So okay, moving on now. So any other things, Marv, that you can see that maybe 2015 became the year of?
You're using it right now.
Okay.
Blab and any sort of social video conferencing sharing.
So you're
Systems.
throwing in there
Periscope and Meerkat.
Yep.
And,
Yep.
and Facebook's got one that they're beta testing right now with a large group of people, and most of them are social media fanatics or driven that way. But I think you're going to see a lot of podcasts maybe move on to systems like this, and a few others. I think it's just going to be able to explode with that technology.
So do you feel that this is a change on a paradigm scale as far as how we gather and watch our news and things like that as well?
Absolutely. Okay. And I come from, a couple of jobs ago, I was managing a group that all we did was video conferencing on an enterprise level.
Yep.
And to do something like we're doing on Blab right now costs tens of thousands of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
And now you do it for free.
Yeah.
And you can lock it down, you can record it, you can have questions come in and out, you can do all this stuff. And the technology was so it was foreign to everybody 5 years ago. And now it's mainstream on a handheld device.
Right. I know when I was watching the coverage of the tornadoes the other night in Dallas-Fort Worth area, I was watching it on Meerkat. Somebody actually had their Meerkat out there, and you're able to see it live as it's going on. Whether that's good or bad, I don't know. I look at I do a lot of examples with Twitter. A couple of years ago when I was in Dallas-Fort Worth, as a matter of fact, they had that the last tornado outbreak. They had 18 tornadoes in the city during the day, and I was there. And I truly believe that because of Twitter, nobody was killed.
Yeah.
But the difference was that was during the day, and you had all kinds of people out there that were saying, hey, there's a tornado at whatever and whatever intersection. And then a few seconds later, you could see the scroll going down the TV, and the announcers were picking up on Twitter. This one happened in the evening, so you didn't have the eyes on that you would normally see. But there were still eyes on, and it probably did still save lives, simply because there were people reporting from all over the place. On the other side of that with social media, I look at Ferguson. And the evening that they made the announcement that they were not going to indict the police officer, in Twitter, I was watching the crowd at the time because somebody had a camera out there on the crowd through live stream, and the whole crowd lit up. It was dark outside, and everybody was looking at their device, and before you know it, people are throwing bottles at the police officers or whatever. You can't describe in 140 characters why they didn't indict the police officer. They just said that he was not going to get indicted, and the crowd got riled up because of it. So it goes both ways with these things, and whether it's good or bad.
Yep.
So
Well, it's real-time news, and we've always had Google Hangout. I mean, Google Hangout is sort of this iteration, but I think what Periscope and Blab and Meerkat have done is made it easier. And I think by putting it in an app and making it, Google Hangouts are fine, but you had to jump through 4 or 5 hoops. You still kind of do to have that. And I think that, by making it easier, making it more accessible, Marv, you made it, or Marlo and Marv. I'll just call you Marv.
We get that all the time.
Yeah.
Marlo,
you actually, last time we were together, you had suggested that there were some people doing trivia. Well, I own the Trivia Tour, and I'm hosting a podcast. And I went on there and found several people that are hosting trivia shows and kind of found this micro niche. It was really fun, and I actually started joining and playing and getting ideas for what I want to do with my show. But I'm actually building a version to go into Blab.
Okay.
But it's a different medium than podcasting. It's a little more live, but I think the fact that people can see, like even with this show, it's bringing that human element even in a little bit higher because you can actually see what they look like, and it makes a difference, and you can make that connection with people. So, virtually.
Yep. Okay. Very cool. Your next thing on the list, Scott.
Okay, so this is not a new technology for 2015, but it changed the way I use technology in 2015,
Okay.
and that's Apple TV.
Okay.
So Apple TV's been out for years, but and again, the new Apple TV allows me to access all of my music now and movies, and it's uploading everything to the cloud. That's great for personal use. But in business, we actually eliminated projectors because of Apple TV.
Sure.
And in all of the rooms that we were using at the business I was at, we basically put an Apple TV in there for those that had Macs, and there was another type of device for Windows-based. And it was incredible because I use a MacBook Pro, and we would walk in, and within seconds, you didn't have this. You had on a large screen TV, and you were able to project up your screen and share your screen instantly. That, to me, is I hadn't thought of using Apple TV in that way.
Sure.
And to not have to drag out that projector each time and dim the lights, and I mean, that was just such a revelation. And for $150 now, you can take care of that and get your Netflix and get your, but you can actually, like if you're using an iPod or an iPad or a phone, you can literally stick the screen right up on there and demo how an app works. And I mean, it's
same thing with Chromecast, same
Yep.
same
Chromecast.
deal for the Android
Chromecast,
system.
Roku. We talked about the Roku on this channel. And actually, I want to just bring that back to the Internet of Things. I truly believe Apple TV and Roku were the ones that kind of led the revolution of Internet of Things.
Yep.
Because they were the first ones that actually you could buy a device that actually really wasn't connected to anything outside of the internet that you could use.
Right.
So I think that's pretty cool. Google Nexus Media Player. I've got 2 of them now. Have you guys played with these yet?
I haven't.
I've seen them. I played with them up at Best Buy or whatever, but I've never actually seen one live.
I might actually state that is better than the Roku now. I absolutely love the Nexus, and I can pull up my Google Docs with it's like a mini computer on your television, but you can watch your movies, you can play games on it. It's absolutely incredible. All right, everybody, after the break, we will continue this conversation on what happened in 2015 and probably give you a little bit about what we think is going to be going on in the future. So come on back.
Right now, 9 above.
Super Talk 1270, home of the Bismarck Bobcats and high school sports. Listen online or anywhere on the Radio Pub app. Super Talk 1270.
Follow the Guru of Geek everywhere he goes. Post your comments or questions at thetechranch.com. Once again, your Guru of Geek, Marlo Anderson.
And we've always talked about having a show that goes on during the break here, and we have that going on today for the first time ever on Blab. So those of you who are joining us on Blab, you're getting to see us goof around a little bit in the studio while the commercials are going. So we really appreciate that. Again, if you want to join us on Blab, blab.im, and you will be able to see the dream team. That's not including me, by the way, but everybody else that's in here, Brian and Marv and Scott. And by the way, Brian, thanks again for joining us and being our host in Blab. We really appreciate that. Talking about 2015 and the year of 2015 and the things that probably define the year as far as technology goes. I think, Marv, you're up next. Do you have something else on your list?
Again, this is supposed to be the year that computers are dead.
Sure.
And you're starting to see that. Scott's got one of the giant iPads. And
landing pad.
Yeah. But you're starting to see that, and you're seeing that the Microsoft Surface Book and some of the other things that are coming out are incredible and powerful. And I think you're going to see, these devices slowly. There's so many companies and so many other business environments and that sort of thing that are going to need computers forever or for a very long time. But I think for just general use and walking around and guys like us that work from home offices and that sort of thing, the phone and your iPads and your Surface tablets are where it's at.
Yep, I agree. Scott?
I 100% agree. And the one thing that, again, the cloud has taken care of it. I used to think I always need a hard drive because I have to save stuff in there. But now that we have Seamless Cloud and Dropbox integrates within every one of my apps and, things like Pocket, where if I'm reading something, I can quickly just save it out to
all
Pocket.
The time.
And then I have it and it downloads it so that even if I don't have internet, I can still read it or watch the video or do whatever.
OneNote.
OneNote, yep.
put
Yep.
something
I
on
use
OneNote,
Evernote,
and
but-
now it's here, and it's there, and it's
Yep.
there, and it's home, and
Yep, between Evernote and OneNote, I mean that has just changed the game for so many people. And I mean, I can't. So I'm using Evernote right now to read my notes.
Yeah, and normally this is the first time in 3 years that I actually
What
use
is
a pen
that?
and paper. I know it's crazy, but I didn't have time this morning to
Where'd you
actually
get
put
that?
notes.
pen and paper.
You can get those on Amazon.
You can pick these up. It's a device called a pen, everybody, and,
Wow.
and you click it. I'll see if you can click it on the thing here, and then this
think
little
it's sitting
thing comes
next-
up, and you just write on
Yeah.
this flat thing. You know,
I think it's
just-
sitting next to this thing. I think they call it a phone book.
Yes.
Oh, that's that thing where you can look up people's names. and
Yeah,
their
yeah. You threw it in the
address and
garbage
their-
right away when you
their
got
phone
it.
number.
so.
I use it to hold doors open and to stand up and get really tall things.
I use it for my desk, actually. I have a little wobbly leg, and I use it there. So, I mean, there's a lot of kinds of things you can use the Yellow Pages for. So,
So once you
Perfect.
write on that device there, then what do you do with it?
Yellow Pages. So anyway,
He types it into his computer.
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to take it back and type it into my computer. Of course, that's what I'm going to do. So, all right. Next up, we have to go a little quicker here now because I bet you we have a few more things to get through. Scott.
Okay, so CNN Money had kind of coolest gadgets of 2015, and here's two that I really think are just that I want to see happen. That I would love to add to my collection. One is called Trunkster. It's a suitcase like a Swiss Army knife of luggage. Charges your cell phone. It weighs itself. Has a GPS tracker that connects your smartphone in case you lose your luggage. And it has a zipper-free garage door style opening. So the Trunkster, $325.
Cool.
I dig it. I mean, I like it. I like the fact that it could charge my cell phone because you're always running through airports.
Yeah.
Just
trying to
this
find
Christmas too, man. If you'd have gotten in earlier.
Yeah.
I buy my gifts to myself all year long, anyways. And here's the Batteroo Batterizer for $2.50. The Batterizer battery sleeve promises to extend life of your batteries up to 8 times longer by drawing out the remaining power, which you were about to throw in the garbage. When disposable AA is working, they usually have about 80% of their power remaining.
That's true. They just fall below the
Standard.
whatever the wattage is or whatever
Yeah.
that's left in there. Yeah, and
But
then they
this
just
is a
don't work
little
anymore.
tiny sleeve that you connect on the side, and it draws out that remaining
Really?
power and gives it like 8 times longer. $2.50.
That's pretty cool.
I think it's very cool.
Yeah. What about money this year? Not what you brought up. Money. I mean, money.
Buying posters and-
How we pay for things.
Well,
Apple Pay,
I have
Samsung.
not used Apple Pay yet, but I have it ready on my phone. I just, I guess I haven't thought of it when it was coming to
Right.
those times. But I
Me
mean, I
too.
do have all of my credit cards stored inside of those devices.
So do you have you gone to like a coffee house or whatever and used their app to pay for anything?
A Starbucks, yes.
Okay.
I use
okay.
that nonstop.
Marv?
I have not.
Okay. They are convenient. I didn't my local coffee house too that I go to, I use it all the time now. And it is convenient. You just put your phone by it and away it goes. So
That's
pretty
cool.
cool. Yeah. And I believe that as we move forward, because these devices are actually generating one-off codes, meaning that your credit card number, when you use it, if you're using a credit card transaction, will create a one-time number to use. So if somebody were to steal that transaction somewhere down the pike, it won't do them any good anyway because it's already expired.
Yep.
So there's a lot of security built into this stuff, which I absolutely love. So, Marv, next on your list?
I think, and this kind of bleeds into 2016 a little bit, but I think drones, really took off this year. I think if you look at the Christmas wish list that a lot of people had, drones were huge.
Yep.
And I think now we're again at that standardization phase where there's going to be some laws and regulations and rules and things that we have to follow here and there.
Thanks for reminding me. I got to register mine yet. So,
See, I knew it.
so I got to, and in fact, just a warning for everybody who got a drone for Christmas or whatever, please be very careful when you hop on to the internet to register your drone. There is only one website that's legit. Everything else is illegal. They're trying to
Really?
get you $25, $50, $100 to register your drone.
Right.
Do not do that. If you go to thetechranch.com, by the way, there is the link there for the new FAA drone. You have to be between, if you're below a half a pound, don't have to register.
Right.
So if you've got these little toy ones or whatever, if you're above a half a pound up to 55 pounds, you have to register your drone. Between now and February 19th, I believe it is.
Better hurry.
So, better hurry. So next on my list, and just right off of the drone, is the autonomous vehicle.
Yes.
I believe this is the year that people are accepting autonomous vehicles. Why are you smiling at me, Scott?
Because I'm jealous as all jealous gets.
Why are you jealous?
Because you got to ride in one.
One?
Well, I mean, you got to ride. Yeah.
Quite a few actually. But I was in the autonomous truck,
Yeah.
the Peterbilt truck a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah, autonomous vehicle to me right now means either my wife or my daughter drives.
Close enough.
That's
Except
close
you're
enough.
probably
That
still
works.
more nervous when that's going on.
Way more nervous.
I know when I'm not driving. It's
And I have to tell you, it's because of you that I was able to get that footage, by the way.
That's amazing.
Because it was no photographs, no video in this thing, right? And I'm pulling off there, and I'm reading on my phone. I'm reading out loud to Bill as we're coming off the Texas Motor Speedway, and it's like Scott Wild just texted me to say if I could get some video, and Bill goes, "You want some video?" And I was just like, Yes.
Yes.
My phone goes inactive, and I just right then I hit the video record thing. So,
Cool.
Pretty cool stuff. So, but I believe that this is whether people accept the technology or not, I think it's advanced so far to the point that people are going to start seeing it being integrated in their vehicles. And you're seeing it right now. Lane changing, lane keeping technologies, crash avoidance, all these things are great things. And moving forward, we're going to get to a point where we have level 5 autonomy and cars will drive themselves.
Well,
Pretty
you're going
cool
to see it integrated into the commercial first because
Yes,
it's
right.
just a smart business thing. I mean,
Right.
you're going to, and then it was people see that and they're driving next to a truck that doesn't have a driver.
Right. Sure.
I mean, you're going to get the buy-in and,
Yep.
you know.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Next on your list, Scott.
So 1 to 3 years away, this is an MIT breakthrough technology thing from 2015, the Magic Leap. This is a device that makes virtual objects appear in real life. Okay, they're saying it's 1 to 3 years away.
You're talking about a transporter here?
I'm talking about like being able to project kind of Star Wars like, project things
Yep.
in real life right there. It's open up new opportunities for film, game, travel, telecommunications industry. So when you're getting your Death Star construction updates, you can have
get
some-
right on that.
Wow.
And the key players here are key Magic Leap and Microsoft are the
Okay.
ones involved there.
Interesting. Marv, next on your list.
The SpaceX and Amazon, the way those guys are fighting it out, I think you got two very rich megalomaniac that are trying to push space travel and land them. That's the cool part.
Yeah.
They're bringing them back to Earth and landing them.
I love that. What was that, a week ago when they landed the SpaceX? Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, great. We've been doing that for a couple of weeks. Congratulations. They're almost trying to one-up each other, and I think that's going to drive this like crazy. And
Reusable rockets, too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's just it. Everything's reusable, and it's safe, and it's kind of fun to watch.
Yep.
Good for
yep.
the environment.
Oh, yeah. Love
Yeah.
it. Love it. So, Scott, next on your list.
Well, really quickly, Internet of DNA, technical standards, databases about DNA, so that it's going to, again, this is that IoT, where databases are sharing information. So when you get a diagnosis on something, you can get information about all the other treatments happening in the world.
Okay,
based on
cool.
that right
And
now.
the
So-
last thing on my list is wireless power. I think 2015 was the rise of wireless power. You're going to see more and more devices, your cars, whatever, that are going to start getting
Both of these.
both of your devices
Phones
you're
and
wearing right
watches.
now. Really, yeah,
Charge
wireless power.
wirelessly.
Very cool. So, all right, everybody, we really appreciate you joining us today.
Thanks.
And we will see you next year. Actually, next year we will be broadcasting live from Las Vegas from CES.
Some of us will.
Yeah.
We leave.
Have a great week, everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy